We are going to be looking in 2 Corinthians, as we said, and we're going to be taking a look at that together and see what we can learn. You know what I thought as I was getting ready for this? We don't hear toil too much. You don't hear that. I hear double toil and trouble around a certain time of year, but that's about all. You don't hear the word toil too much anymore. But you'll find out where this word came to my mind from as we come to the end. There's an old hymn that has it in there. I don't think I've ever sung this hymn before. I don't know if you have. Did you ever? That one is? Yeah, okay, that's two of us. So we'll find out. If not, congratulations. New hymn for us. It's old, but we'll see who has had it before. So let's find out together. But as we talk about toil, let's look at Paul speaking to the church in Corinth. So 2 Corinthians 6, 3 through 6. It says this. Excuse me. It says, "We put no stumbling block in anyone's path, so that our ministry will not be discredited. Rather, as servants of God, we commend ourselves in every way, in great endurance, in trouble, hardship, and distress, in beatings, imprisonment, and riots, in hardship, sleepless nights, and hunger, in purity, understanding, patience, and kindness, in the Holy Spirit and in sincere love, in truthful speech and in the power of God, with weapons of righteousness in the right hand and in the left, through glory and dishonor, bad reports and good reports, yet regarded as impostors, known yet regarded as unknown, dying and yet we live on, beaten and yet not killed, sorrowful yet always rejoicing, poor yet making many rich, having nothing and yet possessing everything." When I first read that, I thought, boy, if he gave pastor reports back in the day, he'd be a tough one to follow. Pastor Vic knows what I'm talking about. Can you imagine that as a report back then? And that's what it was. He's giving a report of his ministry and what he's been going through. We call it the Christian ministry. It's really what it is, and what he is talking about is the Christian ministry. Now, another way to word the Christian ministry is AKA, also known as the work of a Christian. We call it a ministry, and it is, but it's also the work. It's what a Christian does. I didn't even put it up on the overhead because it seems like we all know it. If not, I'm going to tell you anyway. It's the Great Commission. Go make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and I will be with you. We know the Great Commission. We know that when you become a follower of Christ, you are put into ministry. It comes with becoming a child of God. It can also just simply be known as the work of a Christian. What does a Christian do? So let's look at Matthew 13:24 as we talk about the work of a Christian. Jesus told them another parable. There are so many that we could look at. This is just one line. Again, if you don't know all these stories, jot them down, go home, look them up, read them through, make sure I'm not taking them out of context, and learn more from what we're looking at today. But here Jesus is telling them a parable, a story to make a point. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. When we think of ministry, sometimes we hesitate to call it what it is at times. Work. That it's effort that's being put in. That it is stuff that we do, the work of a follower of Christ, the work of a minister. And I don't just mean ordained minister. It's the ministry of all who are a follower of Christ. So here, just in this beginning, and I know there's the whole parable attached, but if we pause to think of this, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. I know some people love to garden. Sandy, I see you online. If you're still there, I'm looking at you digitally. I know some people love to do that. But to me, gardening is work. I don't want to plant. Like, if I have to, I'll do what I got to do to eat, but food lines up the street, right? I know it's not as good for me. I get it. I understand. But I don't want to dig holes in the dirt. I don't want to plant the seeds. I don't want to weed. I don't want to water. I just want the fruit. It's work. You go out and you put the work into what you are doing. Whether we like to admit it or not, because sometimes we think it makes us sound more spiritual if we just say ministry is always a joy, ministry is this, and ministry, and we just put all the wonderful superlatives on there. It's true, they are. But sometimes ministry is just work. Sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes you have to just go and do it. And we see this here. The kingdom of heaven is like the man who sowed good seeds. Matthew 20:28, we know it, I'm sure. Jesus said this, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus himself came to serve, and we know that we also are called to serve. So what is the toil trouble? What is it that we kind of sometimes struggle with or don't like to admit or don't want to talk about, or at times it just downright causes us to pull back and stumble in our faith? Let's pull those verses back up. 2 Corinthians 6, 3 through 6. We see Paul talking about his ministry and the ministry of those with him. He has all these things that he has gone through. And he talks about the work of the ministry. Bring up verses 7 through 10. We see those there as well as he continues on and lists all that has been happening. One thing that got my attention that made me think was that one phrase there, in good reports and bad, regarded as impostors, yet unknown, dying and living, beaten and yet not killed. We see Paul laying down the work of the ministry. Yes, sometimes we're just going to say ministry. But again, we see here, Paul has been putting in hard work. And what I've noticed, and again, back to the American church, a lot of times we don't talk about the work of ministry. Ministry is wonderful. It blesses you in ways you cannot understand until you actually do it. It helps you grow in your faith and brings you closer to the Father. It can be the most joyous thing in your life outside of your relationship with God and with family. It brings so much. But yet there are times when the church itself kind of pulls back from the call of people to work in ministry. So how do we overcome the toil trouble? How do we as a church and as individuals accept what God is calling us to do? How do we overcome this thought that, okay, well, ministry sounds fun, and if everything is right and it fits me exactly, then I'll do it. And I've seen that. Again, I've been in church my whole life, as many of you have. And I watch a lot of people. I watch a lot of things. I've been to conferences and camp meetings and revivals and all these things. And I've seen a lot of people who will come and put effort into something that's a little bit enjoyable or more fun or maybe a little more exciting or that has a little bit more oomph to it. And I've seen all these people come together. But what has always grabbed my attention is when that ends and the excitement is gone. I've always noticed there's a few people around cleaning up, closing up, doing things that aren't all that exciting and that most people maybe never even think of. It's much easier to have a packing party where shoeboxes are coming soon, where we put shoeboxes together and everybody comes and we have pizza and we put the shoeboxes together and there's music playing and all this kind of stuff. That can be kind of fun. You're talking to people, you're putting shoeboxes together, all that kind of stuff. What I don't truly like is being at this church building by myself vacuuming, and it's boring. Thank you to all who sign up. The board is out there, just FYI. It's right there, it's ready. But it's just not that fun. Like, I don't enjoy coming and vacuuming and cleaning and dusting. It's not all that much exciting, but yet it needs done. So how do we overcome this toil trouble as a Christian and as a church? One, remember the call. Remember the call of Christ. We saw it here in Matthew 13:3. So Matthew 13:3 says this, "Then he told them many things in parables." And again, we're back to this farming thing because that was big for them. A farmer went out to sow his field, to sow his seeds. He was going out and planting and doing the work that was required to get the result that he wanted. Some farmers maybe just absolutely love to farm, but others go out because they have what they want to be later down the road. They plant because they want to later harvest, and it is work for them to do so. So the first thing is, remember, we're called to work in the ministry. And not all of it is glamorous or exciting, or I'm going to say it, even fun. Not all of it is. Planting the seed is hard work. 1 Corinthians 3, second part of verse 5, going through verse 7. The Lord has assigned to each his task. You're probably familiar with this passage. I, being Paul, planted the seed. Apollos watered it, but God has been making it grow. So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters it is anything, but only God who makes things grow. So again, using the ever-loved farm analogy, we have Paul going and planting the seed of the gospel, and Apollos going and watering it to help it grow. So much we look into this, but what we're looking at now is there was work involved in Paul planting the seed, and there was work involved in Apollos watering it. We're called to do our piece, whatever that piece may be. I'm going back to it. I love just watching and seeing how many people come when there's a call to something exciting and the call to when it's just time to clean up. That's tough. Once you know the call, if we're going to overcome this thing of accepting the position, first you hear the call, but you then must say yes. I will put in the work that is required to get the result that I want, which is a harvest of souls coming to Christ and being built up in him. 1 Corinthians 3:10, by the grace God has given me, I laid a foundation as a wise builder, and someone else is building on it, but each one should build with care. Laying a foundation, you're going to have to ask Bonnie on this one, is hard work. Building on that foundation is hard work. Each person has what they are called to do, and each one requires effort being put into it. We saw it in 2 Corinthians 6, verses 3 through 6, that we already read a couple times. We put no stumbling block in anyone's path. And he says, as servants of God, you're accepting the position when you come into his family to be his servant. You're adopted as a son or daughter and brought into his family. But just as Jesus came to serve, when you come into the family, you are also called to serve. The job description is vast. I just wrote a job description the other day for the place where I work outside of here. Had to write a job description. So I'm writing down all that this person is going to do and who they report to and all these kind of things. And I found it interesting, and I've learned, because I've been there for a long time, the last little piece, and I think it's probably in every job description out there, at least of any big company, it always said the very last piece they put at the bottom, other duties as assigned. Every single job. That was the easiest one. I'm writing my job description. I'm like, other duties as assigned. Okay, what are the rest of the duties? And I had to list them out. Jesus gets to pick what the other duties as assigned are. And he lays it out before us. Now, talking about job descriptions, this is a tough one. Okay, job description. I'm in troubles. I'm in hardship. I'm in distress. I've been beat. I've been in jail. I've been caught up in riots, in hard work, in sleepless nights, and hunger. That's a tough job description. You try to write job descriptions in a way to make people apply for the job. Paul's just writing this job description of him and those who are with him, of this is what we go through. It's hard work. We've been in jail. We're hungry. We're sleepless at times. He doesn't hold back on what he's saying is required to do as a follower of Christ, what ministry is. And sometimes when we hear ministry, this scares me because I've seen it. I'm thinking of several people in my head now. They said, I have a call to minister. I want to share God. I want to spread the gospel. I want to see his kingdom grow. And then they get to the hard work portions of it. And they kind of fall back. I've also seen people who say, I want to serve God. I want to build the kingdom. I want to do whatever it takes. And then whatever it takes is cleaning up the boys' dorm after camp. That's gross. They're like, well, maybe I don't want, somebody else can do that, right? I'm called to lead. I'm called to do this and that and the other. Sometimes ministry is cleaning up. Sometimes ministry is doing the things that are not ultra pleasant or that you don't enjoy. So first you have to remember the call and then accept the position. The other one next, as you go through this and as you maybe struggle and think of the different things that are going on, then pause as you're doing it and remember the victory. Remember the victory that is received and is going to be received. Ephesians 1:22. And God placed all things under Jesus' feet and appointed him, Christ, to be head over everything for the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills everything in every way. When you're called to serve, again, let's be real. Sometimes we have to do things we don't like in order to build the ministry of Christ. Sometimes it's hard work. Paul himself said it. Hard work, sleepless nights, hunger, jail, beatings. I doubt he liked any of those things, but yet he was going through. So when you're doing it and you're thinking, I don't particularly like this, hold on to the victory. Hold on to the knowledge that you know that Christ is above all. Romans 8:37, you're familiar with it, go back and read it. In all things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. You're victorious when you serve. You're victorious when you do what God has called you to do because he is in charge. He has set it up and he is making it work. John 16:33, I've told you these things so you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Ministry is often hard because you often don't see the result that you want at the time that you want to see it. Sometimes God doesn't even let you see the result. Sometimes in our mind, we don't even put things together to see how they work. God does, but he overcame the world and is working it all out. The one who cleans the boys' dorm and cleans the tabernacle after camp is over. You may think, well, that's just nothing. That doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does, because next group of ministry is coming. And if it's not prepared for them, it's going to hurt their effort and their ministry. God is putting it together, and he's making your work victorious, whether you see it or not, whether other people see it or not, or whether you believe it or not. Galatians 6:9 says this, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up. Keep working. Do what God has called you to do. When it's hard, when you're tired, when you're in prison, when you have beatings, whatever that is, he says, just keep doing what I've called you to do, and there will be a harvest. It will work. God knows what he's doing. Another piece, as we're talking about just hard work and doing things, is remember the love and reward. Remember both. Why do we work? I thought of two things as I thought about, well, why? Why do we do these things? The first one is just that we love God and he loves us. Yesterday, so I'm going to talk about my dad for a moment, make up for all those years he talked about me up here. He called me and he's like, I'm having trouble with my computer. Always having trouble with the computer. Can you come show me X, Y, Z? So, of course, I go over to his house and we look at the computer, I fix X, Y, Z, and it's done. I did not at that time go, my hourly rate is this, divide that by travel time and my standard fee, and here's the bill. Of course not. I love my dad, he loves me. Same thing, he had already got up and got me a suitcase for something I needed. He didn't go, okay, well, my retrieval fee is this and the borrowing fee is, no. We helped each other because we love each other and our family. When you're serving, you serve God because you love him and he loves you. Hebrews 6:10, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. You get that piece in there? He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you help them. When you're doing the ministry, you're doing it because God loves you and you love him. And it's also okay to think about the reward that is coming. 2 Timothy 4:6-8. Paul speaking again. For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. There's a reward that comes from working for Christ. Let's be clear, just in case, it's not salvation. Salvation is a gift from God, earned by belief or given by believing in him and accepting his forgiveness and giving your life to him. You can't work your way to salvation. Very clear in Scripture. But there is a reward that comes when we serve Christ. Do what he has called us to do. Here Paul says there is the crown of righteousness, which he'll be awarded. Paul knew his time was coming near. And he was looking forward to receiving the reward that comes from service. I was at work once, and I guess I've been there too long because I was the only one that said this. It was a leadership training, and they were asking all these leaders, why do you come to work? And I was like, well, this is an interesting question because I know my answer very easily. And the first one was like, well, I love helping our customers. It's just good to be able to help them and let their day have better, improve their financial lives. Somebody else, the next person, well, I love my teammates. I want to be able to work for them, and we support each other, and we're a work family. You've heard all this before. It's the same thing. They get to me, and I'm thinking, I guess I've been here too long because I'm just going to say it. He said, why do you come to work? I said, because you pay me every 2 weeks. That's why I come to work. I said, I agree with the other things, but in 2 weeks, my paycheck doesn't show up. I'm not coming back. That's the way it is. You pay me, I come to work. There's a reward that comes for working for 2 weeks. It hits my account every 2 weeks. That's the reward. Sometimes when things are hard, one, remember the love. You're doing it because you love God and he loves you. But it's also okay to go, you know what? I'm building up a crown of righteousness. And there's a great reward that is coming. It's okay to remember that. Don't push off the love of God and that you're doing it for him. But remember, there's a reward. There's a payday coming. Just wait a little bit longer. So the question, are we ready to toil? Are we ready to put in the work that is required to build the kingdom? Sometimes it's just hard work in ministry. Very often, just like in every job, sometimes you just see bits and pieces of all that happens. But there's a lot of work that goes in, whether it's an official church ministry or whether it's a ministry that you just do to others. It can be difficult. It's hard work that's required. But let's expand on what we read in Hebrews 6, verse 10. So let's look at Hebrews 6, 10-12. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. We want each of you to show this same diligence to the very end so that what you hope for may be fully realized. We do not want you to become lazy, but to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. Hold on to what God has called you to do. Yes, of course, get to know him better every day. Love him more. Hold on to the faith. But a part of that is holding on to the work that he has called you to do and not quitting what he has asked. Work will change. He'll call you from one ministry to the other. Sometimes in life stages and life cycles, you'll go from one ministry to the other. And that's okay. but we do not stop the hard work that God has called us to. My question for us is, are we ready to go to the work? Are we ready to do the work that is required? And it's not always all fun. Some things in ministry I love so much. You know, I look forward to kids camp every year. I enjoy that. It's fun. I know it's weird to some of you, but it's fun for me. I enjoy going there and playing with the kids and helping them grow closer to Christ. I enjoy that so much. What I don't enjoy is cleaning the dorm after. But they're both required. And not all that he calls us to do is going to be the things that always bring joy. A lot of it, yes, because what he calls you to do, he equips you to do. And his joy, it fills within you. But sometimes it's just pure work. And that's okay. We do it because we love him and we have a reward coming. We're going to sing this hymn in closing. Again, I didn't know this one, so I'm curious to see if we know it. But the chorus, and I looked this up and I said to myself, this would never fly today. The title is To the Work. I've not heard this on the radio. Not putting down modern worship. There's a lot of wonderful songs, but the chorus is toiling on, toiling on, toiling on, toiling on. Well, that doesn't sound exciting. That's not uplifting. It's talking about work. The only time people sing when they work is when they're on the chain gang. It doesn't sound exciting. But yet, there is so much truth to this hymn. To the church standing up and saying, I will do the work that it takes to win people for Christ, no matter what it is. If you're willing and able, let's stand on up and sing this together the best we can, whether you've heard it or not. We're going to sing it to the best of our ability. As you know, altars are open. Feel free to come and pray if you would like to do so. Let's sing this together.